Yeah, flip that porch light on. Time to see what kind of mess we're dealing with today. As I'm sitting in my rocking chair, calling out the bullshit, watching all these headlines, acting like a fool again. I'm the Porchlight Patriot, shining where it hurts, dragging all the nonsense out the shadows.
Ever feel like politics is just a fancy shell game where you're always the sucker? Well, pull up a chair because this is the Porchlight Patriot, and I'm Chicken Pimp, your resident, porch sitting, southern fried truth teller with a doctorate and calling it like I see it. If you're tired of being talked down to by folks who couldn't find a real day's work with a GPS, you're in the right place. Here, we drag hypocrisy out into the daylight and break down the nonsense they don't want you paying attention to. You might be asking, why should I trust one more loudmouth with a microphone? Let me tell you, I ain't afraid to say what most folks only whisper at the Food Lion. I'll unpack every law, every lie, every tax, and every government power grab. Every week, we'll wade right through the spin, dissecting things like political doublespeak, which is just code for talking pretty while doing ugly, and regulatory overreach, which basically means telling you how to live your life from a million miles away. So here's my promise. You'll laugh, maybe cuss, probably not hard enough to pull a muscle, and you'll walk away with a fire in your belly and the facts in your pocket. Let's get started, y'all, because you deserve the truth, not just what's convenient for them. Let's talk about gun rights, because Lord knows that's a subject politicians love to twist till it's unrecognizable. Ever notice how the folks making the rules ain't the ones fixing fences after dark or fending off coyotes in the backyard? Now, the Second Amendment, that's the right to keep and bear arms, gets thrown around like a football, but most city folks wouldn't know a 22 from a water pistol. And then there's background checks, which sound good, but often turn into paperwork traps for law abiding folks just trying to protect their home. You might be thinking, isn't there a happy medium? Sure, but it ain't found in backroom deals or viral speeches. It's in real conversations, honest facts, and frankly, admitting that rural safety ain't got much in common with gated communities. Here's a quick analogy. Treating gun law reform like a one size fits all hat is like telling a sheep farmer how to herd cats. It just don't make sense. Security and liberty don't always have to be at odds if the folks in charge would just listen. So before you buy what the talking heads are selling, ask yourself who actually lives with the consequences of these rules. Spoiler, it ain't the ones passing them. Now let's wade into government overreach. That's when the people in charge forget they work for us and start acting like we work for them. Ever notice how every year there's a new rule, a new fee, a new reason you can't do what you've always done? Take zoning laws on paper, they're supposed to organize cities, but in rural areas they're like trying to use a city map to find a deer trail. And then there's civil asset forfeiture, where law enforcement can seize your property without a conviction like the government's playing Monopoly, but you're never allowed to pass go. Now you might be thinking, aren't regulations supposed to keep us safe? Sure, but when common sense leaves the building, all you're left with is bureaucracy and frustration. Here's the real kicker. When folks push back, they get painted as troublemakers, not taxpayers. You ever had to fill out a permit to build a shed on land your granddaddy owned? That's what I call red tape, and buddy, is stickier than molasses in January. The bottom line? Good intentions don't mean a thing if the execution turns into a circus. Keep your eyes peeled and don't let them sneak freedom out the back door while you're busy working. Now, let's slice through the affordability myths they sell at election time. Ever hear a politician promise to lower your costs like they're handing out coupons at the gas station? Spoiler, it almost never works out that way. Let's dig into inflation. That's when your money buys less with every trip to the store. And then there's the cost of living index, which sounds fancy, but basically means how much it hurts to pay your bills every month. You might be thinking, but Chicken Pimp, didn't they just pass a bill to fix all this? Sure they did, and I've got a magic beanstalk to sell you too. Here's a quick story. Last year, my neighbor's electric bill doubled, and the only explanation was a press release saying progress. If that's progress, I'll stick with candles. The truth? Until folks in power have to pay the same price as we do, and I mean actually feel the pinch, affordable living will stay a fairy tale, no matter how many times they promise it's coming soon. Let's take a breath and talk Southern common sense. What is it, really? It's knowing that you don't kill a fly with a sledgehammer, and you sure as hell don't fix a leaky roof by setting the house on fire. Critical thinking, that's the ability to question, not just accept, is the heart of front porch wisdom. And then there's self reliance, which is just a fancy way of saying handle your business before asking for help. Now, some folks act like country logic is outdated, but let me tell you, if more people asked, does this make sense, before voting, we wouldn't need half the laws we've got. Picture it. Two neighbors arguing over fence lines, but instead of suing each other, they meet over coffee and settle it like grown-ups. That's Southern dispute resolution, simple, civil, and about as efficient as it gets. So next time you hear some shiny new idea from a podium, run it through the front porch filter. If it don't pass the common sense test, it ain't worth bringing inside. Let's bring it home, y'all. We've lit up some dark corners this season. Gun rights, government overreach, the true cost of living, and why common sense belongs front and center. Here are 3 takeaways. 1, don't believe every headline. Dig until you hit bedrock truth. 2, challenge every law that feels like overreach. If it don't make sense, it don't belong. 3, keep your Southern common sense handy. It's the best filter you've got. You might be wondering, what can I actually do? Start by questioning the next shiny promise you hear. Ask who it really helps and who pays the price. That's active citizenship, like tending the porch light so neighbors see the path. And here's your action step. Pick one issue we covered and call your local rep not to rant, but to ask, how does this really help folks like me? You'll be surprised who listens when you talk plain. Until then, keep the porch light burning, smash that subscribe button, and remember, the truth sounds sweeter coming from the porch.
I'm saying it loud. Bless your heart, fix your mess, and make your mama proud. Pull up a chair, y'all. The porch light's on.